we've all been in circumstances like on a subway or something or in a public situation where everybody isn't noticing what's noticeable together. And so we need to be, out of respect for everybody else's choices, we need to be a separate self navigating the world in isolation. And here, we've all agreed to notice together what, if we were all in a subway car together, we could all be sensing the train going along and where we're going, and be appreciative of each individual one of us and each person's feelings and joys and expectations, and so there's this communion of multiple deep, individual, incomparably unique beings being sensitive together. I mean, what a difference being in a subway car with people that won't make eye contact with you, or on a public street where, everybody avoids making even momentary eye contact, like in New York City or something like that. So, it's also not true that if you go along the street in New York City, and I found from experimenting and making eye contact with everybody that won't meet my eyes, that I won't end up feeling kind of ill very quickly. So there's something about sharing attention or sharing undivided attention, that everything that I experience myself to be and experience us to be in all of nature, all the plants and animals, everything that's alive is paying attention in the same moment. And so we have this opportunity to just open up into our combined collective noticing, biologically and psychologically and spiritually, and and our souls. What we find is that from doing this for thousands of people for over 20 years, is what people find is that there's this feeling of being part of something greater, that nature has made us, and we begin to have feelings about really being indivisibly connected with everyone and everything, and which is a fact. I mean, we are actually interconnected and interdependent with the whole of life. We wouldn't be here otherwise. And so to notice that and sense it in a fully embodied way together, sensitively, actually feels like home, because it's so nourishing and feels so secure and safe and genuine, and really from the heart. I feel our heart here listening to me as I'm speaking, and when I'm speaking and I feel those who are listening to me really feeling me as though I'm them, and they feel me in their hearts. I feel the love that we're all feeling, and the intelligence of that love. How healthy it is for us to feel together. So, thank you. Who would like to speak next? So what is unity consciousness? Well, the simple fact of the matter is that here we notice something which is unchanging. This mirror-like, reflective, awake, aware consciousness that is uniting and embodying all that is changing in us and within us and among us. Where ordinarily in separative self-consciousness, when we feel isolated and feel incomplete and always feel that we're seeking happiness in the future somewhere or avoiding what's fearful and threatening in the past and planning on how we're going to avoid it in the present, that the difference here is that we're just simply noticing what is unchanging, what is constant for all of us. And like the video that is filming us right now, the camera is constantly reflecting and making a record of these reflections. And so the camera, we can really rely on it to mirror us, not only now, but across thousands of miles. We can all see and feel together through this medium, this mirror reflective medium of technologically based consciousness, if you will. And we're all made in comparable ways, where we all are like cameras, all noticing, always in the ever-present now moment, with the whole of nature. And so there's this constant context. And simply by noticing this constant context, in addition to all the things that are changing, that we're sensing and feeling and thinking and intuiting and being as incomparably unique individuals, that simply by noticing this context of this mirror reflective consciousness that is constant, we can connect as one, heart, body, and mind, in the same way that we do it individually. We've each spent a lifetime learning to be sensitive to ourselves, to realize that we can't escape our feelings and thoughts. We need to be present for them. And by being indivisibly awake and aware for how we sense and feel and think and intuit, we become our own best friend. We love ourselves through learning to be present and available emotionally in undivided attention for our own feelings and sensations and thoughts and expectations in this ever-present now moment where it's impossible to suffer. And yet it is impossible to comprehend ourselves. And we're just extending that into this, into this social dimension, a transpersonal dimension. Because we've learned to do it individually, we can do it indivisibly, as just simply by being aware of this that is constant in our consciousness. So, seems like a very simple, inconsequential shift to notice the presence of noticing, the presence of sensing, feeling, thinking, intuiting, that these are verbs, they are actions, they're activities. It doesn't matter what the content of thought is, but the energy of thinking is constant. The energy of sensing and feeling and intuiting, they're all constant. All of our perceptual faculties for each one of us and all of us here are all utilizing present moment attention constantly. That's our common context. And just by noticing that activity of reflecting and being and loving and sensing, there is unity. There's peace. We all feel like we're all of one piece. So it's a simple step, very simple step. It makes logical sense that when we feel indivisibly together, sensitively like this, we feel this, like we've come home to this one whole life, this singular existence that we all share, and we're noticing it and sensing it and loving it together. and calming down and settling down into it together, 3 times a week here in our own private lives. We do it with everyone we come in contact with, and it just builds and gets greater and deeper, and we feel more confident that we can supply this to our own lives and to the lives of others, and that others are meeting us here and sharing this with us, or they've yet to learn it, and so we can hold space for them until they do, and we can love them unconditionally and hold out this opportunity for everyone we come in contact with at every moment, 24/7, ultimately, even in sleep. We can meet our dream characters lucidly as this same permanent consciousness that is unchanging and mirror reflective. We can meet all the images, all the thoughts of who we think we are, what we think we're doing, with this constant context that is the same as it was when we were children all through our lives, and it's going to continue to be what's constant and unchanging about us. And so we can get to know it and rely on it and feel grounded here in this groundless ground, this imageless awakeness, which is constant for us all. Thanks. Who would like to speak next? Tuning in here to what is sensed by all of us. There's an immediate sensitivity of the gravity of the situation, how our sensitivities, our awareness is being attracted, like we feel attracted on the surface of this planet to the center of the planet. We're held on the surface when we're walking by gravity, and the gravity of our consciousness is, in science, it's actually the same. People have been examining this, how observation or awareness and gravity are really the same force. And so there is this sense of all of us are opening up right now with all of you to feeling attracted to a common center, a common place, which is constant. And so in feeling that our awareness with my own is being drawn into this connection is a good feeling. It's very, very subtle, though. It's very gentle. I'm sensing us feel just how gentle the energetic of our awakeness is collectively. And by just being aware of it as it is, without trying to influence it, just to noticing it, how it's being drawn to itself, that my sensitivity and your sensitivities are being drawn into being consciously awake as a combination of energies that have a unity, that have a commonly sensed intelligence about them. Each of us is so unique, incomparably unique, and when we are combined here as one body, heart, and mind through the gravity of our consciousness, And we recognize that with our left brain, our analytic, logical part of us that's looking for, does this make sense to me logically, and does it make sense to us? Am I just talking nonsense? There's that part of us that normally dominates, and here that part is allowed and as equal to any other part, and so it's going to continue to, try to make sense logically and of what's being said. Surely that's going to happen. So this other part that that's just purely sensitive and is awake to the breathing, to what we're all sensing here together, the fact that we're all being sensitive together, itself is a really beautiful thing to tune into. It's like feeling our caring, feeling our empathy, the intelligence of and loving kindness of our empathy, and how intelligent that is of us to be sensitive together in this way. And I feel us doing it, and it's very rewarding. I feel benefited personally, and I feel us all being benefited. So it's not just me that is selfishly being benefited, but it's us that I am selflessly happy about. I can feel confident that we're being nourished and that we feel this love that we are. That's really a beautiful step to take together here. Thanks so much, everybody. Who would like to speak next? Our feeling and sensing and being together has a depth. And how deep are we? How deep is life? Life is singular. Existence is singular. We're each singular, and we're singular together. We're already unified. And we're waking up as we make more and more explorations experientially of who and what we are. It seems that our awareness is being drawn to make sense in this way, make this commonly sensed truth available to our bodies, hearts, and minds at a more and more conscious level, not only individually but socially and in our group here, and you watching this, listening carefully and tuning in to what it is to be indivisible together. Are we, we can sense our availability to this shared sensitivity. And whatever it is that might distract us from it, of course, is here too. And just by simply being aware of that which needs attention, that grasping for our undivided attention, immediately by being available to that distraction and allowing it to have our undivided attention, it relaxes and integrates and joins us, just as you are, just as we all are, joined together just simply by noticing sensitively as one. Experientially, it seems quite self-evident that our noticing has no territory. It isn't yours or mine, and yet it is ours to to be aware of in the same way that we're aware of everything else in our lives. And so by including our combined sensitivity to this awareness that unites us, just noticing it together brings us together, and we feel this unity with the whole of life and one another. And Eckhart Tolle, who many of you must be familiar with, said that love is a byproduct. And that really struck me, that this love that we're feeling is being produced by us noticing this common presence, this commonly sensed presence. And we can go into the depths of what are the origins, the source and origins of this commonly sensed presence. And we can experience that together. So it's beyond any thought that could grasp it. It's beyond any one of us. We can look into the nature of our existence together and have more hope of finding, through shared sensitivity, our own source and origins here as life itself and as love itself, as creation, as co-creators, causing love to happen. Who would like to speak next? Sitting here, just being aware of your all's awareness through the webcam, noticing the presence of my noticing. And I've been noticing that the more I notice the presence of our noticing, the more relaxed my whole body, heart, and mind becomes progressively, little by little. And that the more our noticing is undivided in my consciousness, in a fully embodied sense, the more I sense this love arising, this unity, this communion of all the pieces and parts of my body, heart, and mind that I'm sharing with all of you, interconnecting and making sense, making more sense together each moment. So, just like holding a child in our lap, and we feel our connection, that we're sharing undivided attention, and that when we share undivided attention with another and others, that spontaneously, without asking for it, there's a feeling of love, of communion, of unity. And the gentleness and the sweetness of that, and the joy of being here together, with all that is, sharing all that is, as a whole. Where the wholeness has no image. It's not a product of our imagination. So when we give our attention to this, that, and the other thing in space and time, this activity, that thought, who you think you are, who I think I am, separately, it fragments us. And if that's all we do exclusively, we end up feeling quite isolated and separate, because we're allowing our attention, present moment attention, to be paid to things that are necessarily separate and comparable and in contrast to one another. Whereas when we pay attention to something which is imageless, like our wholeness, like our awakeness, like the fact that we are being aware collectively here, and I notice that as one human being, then I have this undivided attention to offer and share with all of you. And when I speak, in the tone of my voice, what I'm talking about relates directly to this common reality that we're all actually in, and I'm just playing my part in noticing it and talking about it and allowing it to be center stage and bringing it this indivisible consciousness that we all are, that is love, into the foreground of our awareness. And in doing that, what do you all feel? Does how I'm focusing our collective attention, does it help us be more undivided? I mean, are we each able to contribute causally, co-creatively to how much love we're feeling individually and indivisibly together? Who would like to speak next? Since this is recorded on YouTube, and when we are able to watch the session, I find for myself that, especially if I look and really am present with our noticing through the webcam during the group, where I'm not really indulging in looking at our images, and I'm really noticing our noticing by looking into the eye of the camera and noticing my own noticing more and more each moment, that then when I watch the group and I really can look and see how sensitive we are each being and how it progressively builds over our time together, I find coming in as a future self, looking back into the past of our noticing, that it deepens and weaves my capacity to be more grounded in awake, aware consciousness in the present moment, and I grow from doing that. So I hope that you all watching here, and all of us here in the group will watch what we've created here, and what an instrument it is to be able to make these videos and share them with everybody. So thanks, everybody. Love you so much. Love us so much.